people who were able to win a dispute with the huge corporations. Stella Liebeck vs. McDonald's. Perhaps the example of Stella Liebeck can be called the most famous in the history of conflicts between ordinary people and giant companies. A 79-year-old resident of Albuquerque, New Mexico, stopped by McDonald's for coffee, which she planned to drink while driving. It happened in 1992, so unfortunately there were no cup holders in Stella's old car, and the seat next to the driver's seat was occupied by her grandson. So, in order to add sugar and cream to the drink, the old lady had to squeeze a cardboard cup between her legs. She tried to remove the lid, but the hot liquid, the temperature which was from 80 to 88 degrees Celsius, splashed out on Stella's hips. As a result, an elderly woman received third-degree burns, spent 8 days in hospital, and underwent a skin transplant. After that, Stella needed constant care for 3 weeks and even received an incomplete disability for 2 years. The woman had to spend $10,500 for the treatment of burns, but McDonald's refused to cover the cost in full, offering only $800 compensation. And then Liebeck decided to sue. In 1994, her lawyers proved that McDonald's coffee can cause third-degree burns in 15 seconds. Representatives of the defendant argued that customers who buy takeaway coffee as a rule do not start drinking it immediately, but they mistook it. Stella's lawyers conducted their own investigation and proved the opposite. Moreover, it turned out that about 700 people had complained about McDonald's coffee before her. And although some of the defendant's arguments were quite reasonable, the woman won. At first, the court awarded compensation in the amount of $2.9 million, but McDonald's lawyers appealed the decision, and in the end, the sides agreed on $500,000. Betty Bullock vs. Philip Morris. Today, it's no secret that smoking is not only harmful but also a really dangerous habit. But it was not always so, and the story of Betty Beams is an excellent confirmation of this. Betty started smoking at the age of 17, and 45 years later, she got lung cancer. Then the disease struck the liver. After learning about the terrible diagnosis, the woman finally decided to seek compensation from the company that produces her favorite Marlboro cigarettes. Betty sued Philip Morris in April 2001, accusing the company of fraud and product quality liability. The plaintiff's lawyers tried to prove that she was just unaware of dangers of smoking, and moreover, that cigarette manufacturer deliberately misled her and other consumers by portraying smoking as fashionable and absolutely harmless habit. And this is really true, because when Betty started smoking, there was not even an inscription about the dangers of tobacco. They appeared only in 1964, and then it was about possible but not even proven harm. As a result, the court decided to pay Bullock $750,000 in compensation for material damage and $100,000 for damage caused to her health. She received the money, but then her lawyers insisted on a new review. In 2002, a jury recommended Philip Morris to pay Mrs. Bullock a new record amount of $28 billion as penalties. However, the judge subsequently reduced the amount of remuneration to $28 million. Betty Bullock died of cancer in February 2003, and her daughter Jody became the plaintiff, because the proceedings continued. It was important for the tobacco company to prove that it was not their blame. The process was absolutely completed only in August 2008. Philip Morris had to submit to the new jury decision and pay Jody Bullock $13.8 million. The refs against Google. Google is a real giant. It would seem almost impossible to argue with it. Does anyone notice a tiny company that for some reason does not agree with Google? But history says the opposite. In the middle of the notice, the recommendation service Fandom complained about Google's actions. Sponsors Adam and Shiva Rep from English Berkshire founded it in 2005. The site allowed you to find more favorable prices for goods on the internet. And although the service was popular, it sank lower and lower in the Google search results, while everything was fine with Yahoo and Bing. In 2008, the gadget show program on the British channel Channel 5 named the ref service the best price comparison site in the UK. Of course, after this, the traffic of Foundation began to grow sharply, but in Google the site still not could be found above 80 lines. Then the couple directly appealed to the corporation for some clarification, but did not receive any response. The rest suspected that the company sees their site as a threat to its own product, the Google Shopping service. At the end of 2009, the couple's effort were crowned with success, and a link to their service still appeared at the top of the lines of Google search. But by this time, the refs had already managed to seriously take offense and were determined to go to the end. The couple sent a complaint against the giant to European Competition Commission in Brussels. Google representatives in the process tried to explain the company's actions by saying that fandom does not have original content, but the refs reasonably objected that the Google service does not have original content either. They were supported by Microsoft, TripAdvisor, Expedition, and other companies. The proceedings lasted 5 years, and in 2015 the corporation was officially charged with restricting competition. In June 2017, the European Commission fined Google $2.7 billion. This is the largest compensation in the history of antitrust proceedings. The European Commission also demanded that all price comparison sites be on equal condition within 90 days. Farley and Pendek against Subway. One of the branded sandwiches from the Subway fast food chain is called footlong, which means it should be 30.4 cm long. Quite logically, but one day a scandal broke out around these sandwiches. That happened after Australian resident Matt Copy took a picture of his sandwich against the background of the ruler and posted the photo on Facebook. The picture shows that the branded footlong sandwich in reality turned out to be only 27.9 cm long, 2.5 cm shorter. The photo caused a violent reaction among the internet users, who also posted their photos. It turned out that people around the world are deprived of a whole piece of sandwich. As a result, Americans John and Charles from New Jersey felt so betrayed by their favorite network that they even went to court with a lawsuit, the amount of which is unknown. Their lawyer, Stephen, personally measured the sandwiches at 17 fast food restaurants in New Jersey and its suburbs and found out that none of them matched the length stated in the menu. It all was started in order to force companies to stick to their promises in order to give the case a bigger scope. Dissatisfied buyers intend to track the rest of the deceived New Jersey residents who bought insufficiently long sandwiches. They hope to file a class action. The lawyer claims that because of these 2.5 centimeters, customers can lose about 40–60 cents per sandwich, which according to him turns into $50–60 a year. In turn, Subway representatives said that special bread for sandwiches is baked daily in each of the chain's restaurants and length of the sandwich may vary slightly. After all, cooking is an art and there is no way to accurately measure their length. However, later on, the company's Facebook page, representatives of the Australian Subway, stated that the word footlong is generally a registered trademark and is used more as a description of sandwich rather than its exact length. The claim was not satisfied in the end, but the parties have concluded an agreement. As part of this agreement, Subway stated that its franchises will use a special tools to measure sandwiches.